Joining us, Master Sergeant Israel Del Toro, who prefers to go by DT. He'll be the speaker at this year's Alpine Bank Junior College Baseball World Series. DT, we appreciate the time. How are you doing today?
Doing good, sir. Good. A little cold out here in Colorado Springs today, but I'm doing good.
Well, you're not all that far from us, about 5 hours just to the east of us here.
Just around the corner.
Not too far. No, I guess my definition of around the corner is a little different from yours.
Probably so. That's probably so. DT is a tactical air control party airman with the United States Air Force. Last year, he received the Pat Tillman Award for service during the ESPYs on ESPN television. And, it's the Pat Tillman Foundation established to commemorate the football player left the NFL to become an Army Ranger after the September 11 attacks. And so we'll start out, DT, with your story. It starts out you were in a Humvee, you were hit by a bomb in 2005, and you suffered third-degree burns over 80% of your body. You lost most of your fingers, and you were given just a 15% chance to live. You were in a coma for 3 months. When you woke up, you were told you might never walk or breathe without a respirator again, and you certainly were not going to be able to re-enlist. But you have, after 100 surgeries, you have bucked all those trends to go on to accomplish some amazing things.
Yeah, the odds were against me, but I've never, ever throughout my life, ever listened to odds because, even at a young age, I lost my parents at the age of 12 within a year and a half, and growing up on the south side of Chicago, if I listened to the statistics or the odd makers, I should be either gangbanger or drug dealers, but I'm neither. So, after my injury, I wasn't going to believe what people told me. It's like, oh, I'd never walk again. I was like, I'm going to prove it wrong. I'm going to show you that I'll find my inner strength, that will motivate me and push me. And luckily it was my son. And after they gave me that grim diagnosis, 2 months later, I left that hospital walking and breathing on my own.
And you went on, after I mentioned the 100 surgeries, to become the first airman to re-enlist after becoming eligible for a medical reinstatement with a 100% disability rating. So you went back, you served as a TACP instructor for 5 years. That's before your athletic career. We'll get to that in just a moment. I mean, to be able to go back and be eligible for disability, but you said, no, I want to go back. I want to continue to serve my country. I mean, that's a remarkable achievement right there unto itself.
Yeah, people throughout my recovery, they're like, what do you want to do? Do you want to, get out? Do you want to stay in? My answer was always, I want to stay in. I was like, even though everyone would tell you, it's like, you'll be financially set if you retire, medically retired, all this. It's like, I don't care. It was never about the money. I was like, for me, I love my job. And it's very hard for someone to find a job that they truly enjoy. And I enjoy being in the Air Force. I enjoy, serving my country. So, that was my whole goal, was to continue to serve and tell people, I can't be an operator more, be outside the wire, but, I could teach. And I've showed the Air Force that I still had value. And that's how I was able to continue to serve to this day.
DT Israel Del Toro, United States Air Force Master Sergeant with us, will be the speaker at this year's Alpine Bank Junior College Baseball World Series. And I mentioned, the return to active duty as an instructor, but you also became a Paralympian athlete. You set world records in the shot put, the discus, the javelin. You won a gold medal at the Invictus Games, which is for injured servicemen and women to compete in Olympic-style competition. What prompted you to say, I it's great that I've come back and I'm serving my country again. I've overcome incredible odds, but now I'm going to go out and be a Paralympian. What motivated you to go down that path in your life, DT?
Well, it's funny, when you're going through your therapy, they introduce you to sports because a lot of us were athletes, and then sometimes we think, well, we'll never be able to do sports again, based on a disability. So they introduce you to all these things, and I never did track and field ever in my life. I was a football, baseball player. That was my thing. But so when they started introducing me how they can adapt equipment for you based on your disability, I was like, I started to do it. I was like, all right, let's try this. And I started to excel out of sports I never thought I'd be good at. And from then on, I kept going. And, as I was an instructor, I would go to competitions there around Texas and out of other states. And I saw myself, what? I know a lot of guys think they can never do sports again. So if I can do this and show them, hey, man, you can still do things like this, like athletic ability, I'll continue to do it, and I'll be an example for them. And that's how I started going to Paralympic activities, competing, breaking world records, and going to the Invictus Games. My whole goal was to show guys, you got this, you can still do this, because that's the role of anyone in the military. It's to make things better for the guys that follow you and to take care of teammates, and that's all I've ever done. So when I get these accolades like the Pat Tillman Award for service, I don't know why I got it, because I'm just doing what any other guy would do, take care of their teammates. Yeah, I have unique circumstances where I got, hurt, but I always tell people, man, I just had a bad day at work. That's all I did. I'm no one special.
Say, DT, you also you re-enlist, and you also set a goal that you wanted to jump out of a perfectly good airplane again. I mean, for most people, that's like, yeah, I'm not doing that. But was that just another thing that just kind of drove you? Is I'm going to parachute again?
Yeah, besides getting back into the military, I had 3 personal goals. After my injury, I wanted to fly, which I got to do. Could call in airstrikes, which I can do easily, around here in Colorado. But the hard one I thought I'll never be able to get to do again was jump, because I was a parachutist. So, when I was here in Colorado Springs, I got introduced to the 98th Flying Training Squadron, or the home of the Wings of Blue Air Force parachute team. And the commander's like, hey, DT, you want to jump? I was like, yeah. And, of course, you'll always have the naysayers out there, oh, you can't do that. I was like, well, now because you said I can't do this, I'm definitely going to do it. There's always a way. And luckily, the commander here at the squadron and the staff here were able to adapt a parachute for me. And actually, almost a year ago, I did my 130th jump.
That's just remarkable. I mean, there's so many things about your story that are just so amazing. Air Force Master Sergeant Israel Del Toro will be the speaker at this year's Alpine Bank Junior College Baseball World Series, joining us. When you talk to the kids coming up in May, and these are young, impressionable kids that are hoping to pursue maybe a professional baseball career or whatever else they do in life, if it's not the diamond, DT, what are some of the things you want to get across? I know being part of a team, not letting your teammates down, that's something you've already talked about, is obviously an important message in this. But what are some of the things you'd like to get across to those young men?
For me, it's like, we know that you're going to, your goal is to hopefully get to the majors. And you're going to have some bad days. We all have bad days. Me specifically, I have some bad days. But I wouldn't let that hold me down. Your mind's a very powerful thing. And if your mind, you're thinking to yourself, I'm not going to let this beat me, you're going to overcome it. And then also, you got to find that inner fire that drives you. We all have it. We just got to find it. Like I said earlier, mine was my son. I wanted to show my boy that Dad was not going to let little things stop him from doing what he wants to do. He was never going to be the guy that sit on the couch and said, why did this happen to me, and hating life. No, that's not showing my son anything. So I want to express to these guys, we all have bad days, but you can't let it keep you down. Stay positive. Find that inner spirit, that inner spark inside you, and, man, you'll accomplish anything you want.
Say, I know since the ESPY Awards and receiving the Pat Tillman Award, your life has gotten just a little bit busier, I hear. I mean, and reaching out for you to talk to people. What has that kind of done to your life?
In the beginning, it was a little hectic. I'm not going to lie. After, even receiving the ESPYs, and after it, I have one of those Apple Watches, and I can just feel it just going off, beep, beep, beep. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not even going to look at that till the next day. And so when I did finally look at it, I ain't going to lie to you, I had like 900 messages, direct messages on my Facebook account or my Twitter account, people asking me to speak, and, or most of them were, thank you. And, that was a major. The ones that really touched me were, I heard your story and it really changed my life where I wanted to quit in life, and your story kept me going. So in the beginning, it was hectic. So I was like, oh, what am I going to do? I need help. Luckily, I had people I could talk to and say, hey, what should I do? And it guided me towards agencies that will help me. But, it's kind of, I've gotten into the routine where, I'm working here at the Air Force Academy with the Wings of Blue Parachute team. And then if I'm available, I'll go speak to different organizations. And I see it as an opportunity to help change people's lives, because I know I may not touch everyone I speak to, but if I can touch that one person, help that one person that's really feeling down and thinks that it's not worth it anymore, and hear my story changes that, then all that pain, all that suffering I went through my entire life, it's worth it because I helped that one person.
Have you been trying to reach out to, obviously some injured veterans? I mean, have you talked to some of those? Because obviously they're going through what you have gone through. And, I'm thinking that's something that your story can help them through some of those tough times.
Oh yeah, I definitely do that. I've gone back to Brooke Army Medical Center, and talk to the guys. I'll go visit them and tell them, hey, man, because, we do think when you're first injured and you're like, what am I going to do? Can I ever do anything? Myself, losing fingers, I'm like, how am I going to do buttons? How am I going to dress myself? So being able to go back there and show these guys, hey, man, I was there. Look, I can do it. You can do it too. It's very helpful. And then, of course, the military sends me to a lot of the military bases where I can help these guys. And I'm very active in the Warrior Games that the DLD has, where it's wounded, injured, ill service members come compete in Paralympic style. It's just like the Invictus. That's where Prince Harry got the idea for that. In fact, tomorrow I leave for Vegas, where I'm going to help mentor and coach athletes that want to make the team for the Air Force to compete in the Warrior Games. And then later in May, I'm going to Tampa and helping Special Operations Command wounded, injured, ill service members to try and make the team to compete in the Warrior Games.
Well, DT, we've certainly appreciated the time. We were looking so forward to you coming to town and speaking at this year's Alpine Bank Junior College Baseball World Series and sharing your story of hope and inspiration and overcoming impossible odds. We appreciate the time today. Thank you so much.
No, it's always my pleasure. Anytime, I'll be there for you.